Welcome back, guys. Wanted to do a video, and somebody asked me about, does tanker back? And we do back. We back quite a bit. It is different than backing a reefer truck or a dry van or anything like that. And we're here at a pretty major baking facility in Chicago, unloading 48,000 pounds of soybean oil. They are doing the pumping, so I have the ability to kind of walk around and show you some things. And the first thing I want to show you before I show you where I backed into, this is one of the more standard backing into. There's reefer trucks and dry vans and whatnot that back in next to this. So this is kind of a pretty standard docking situation that you back into, although it's a very small area because this facility was built in the 40s or 50s, if I recall. So the area in front is not very large, and they'll give you a ton of space to do your maneuvering, to set up and do pull-ups and such. So I'll show you that in just a moment, but what I want to show you is the difference between a tanker and a reefer or a dry van. If you're at all familiar with these trucks, you know that it's obviously a fifth wheel, and then you've got two axles in the back. The difference between what we have on a tanker and on a reefer or a dry van, first of all, you have to understand that those, first of all, are longer. 53-foot trailer for a reefer or a dry van. We have a 48-foot trailer. So first of all, the shorter the distance, it's going to back a little bit easier for you. So that's an advantage for backing with tanker. The second advantage, and this is where I'm going to pause the video real quick so I can show you, because the fifth wheel slides, and it does that, and that's part of the truck. And then on a reefer or a dry van, the rear axles slide, but they do not slide on a tanker. So we'll take a moment and I'll show you the sliding fifth wheel. So here we have the sliding fifth wheel. Obviously we're hooked up, but what I want to point out is you've got the locking pin, and then you have 3 holes further back, 2 more in front. So you've got 6 different positions. And depending on what the position is how far back your pivot point for turning is. Now all trucks are going to have that, all semis are going to have that. So it doesn't matter if you're a reefer, a dry van, tanker, a flatbed, that fifth wheel is going to be able to slide forward, slide back. And the reason that they do that has nothing to do with backing per se. It has to do with balancing your load. In terms of, if you're unfamiliar, you can have 80,000 pounds, but you can have 12,000 on your steer tires, 34,000 on these are your drive tires, and then 34,000 on the trailer tires. So in order to balance that, you need to sometimes slide the fifth wheel. And for reefer trucks, they have to slide the tandems, which are the trailer axles. So, since we only have a sliding fifth wheel and do not have a sliding trailer tandem, we only have to worry about the sliding fifth wheel. The other advantage of having this, for the most part, with the liquid load, once you figure out your setting on the sliding fifth wheel, you're not going to have to move it. In a dry van or a reefer, depending on if your load is in the front, towards the middle, towards the back, you may have to move your fifth wheel in order to get, me end up with 36,000 on your drive tires, 25,000 on your trailer tires. And as you can see, these are fixed. These do not slide. There's no way to adjust your trailer tires, your axles forward, back. So like I said, once you figure out your position with 80,000 pounds, where you're going to be at 34,000 or less on here, the drive tires, and 34,000 or less on the trailer axles, with an 80,000 pound load, you're set. You don't need to move this, because for the most part, all of our trailers have the same capacity. We have a couple that are, some of our older ones are slightly smaller, our newer ones are slightly bigger, but it's not terribly significant. There are a couple of trucks that do have to slide them. Personally, I do not have to slide mine. Mine is a set it and forget it. So in terms of backing, and to get back to the point, once you set that position, the geometry of backing is never going to change because your pivot point is always the same and your trailer tires are always the same distance from your pivot point. In a reefer, in a drive-in, sometimes your trailer tires can be all the way forward, similar to the position where we're at right here, or they can be all the way at the back of the truck. And with the change in forward and back, and then an additional change of your pivot point, this truck is much easier to back than a reefer or a drive-in. So it may sound a little complicated, but what I'm saying is you're always backing the same in a tanker. Drive-in or a reefer, the geometry, you've got 2 points that move. Your pivot point moves forward and back. Your tires move forward and back. It's just a little bit more difficult. I'm going to pause the video one more time. I'm going to go and show you what I backed into. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, every place I go this week, I'm going to show you where I backed into, just to kind of show you some of the different places that I go. So we'll go out front and then show you what I had to do here, and then keep doing that every day. So here is the gate that I pulled through. If you can look further ahead, there is a scale. So I pulled on the scale, came through the gate, had to do a turnaround in this area. That is another dock. Turn around in this area, kind of pull back over there, and then do basically a 90-degree turn into, or 90-degree back, or an alley dock into that loading bay. The only thing that, this is not a difficult back by any stretch. The only thing that makes it difficult is you've got these posts over on the left as you're backing, and some concrete barriers on the front. So the space is somewhat limited. Like I said, this is an older facility built in the 40s or 50s. But this one's pretty standard. Like I said, it does, as I go through the sun, I apologize if we lose a little bit here, but it is a place that does accept, as you can see, regular trucks, reefers and drive-ins back in. There was actually in door number 3, you can see I'm kind of by door 4. Door number 3 there, there was a couple of reefer trucks that have pulled in and left since I started unloading. So there you go, there's my video on backing. You can see the other side of the sliding fifth wheel. And that, by the way, is all controlled inside the cab. There's a button on the dash that releases that pin. You set the trailer brakes, you move forward or backwards, release that button again, and then the pin resets in a different hole. There you go. We'll pause the video, and tomorrow I'll show you where I'm at and how I had to back into that spot. Alright guys, this is stop number 2, day 2 of the places we back into. And this is somewhat similar, it's actually the same company, different location to where we were on day 1. As you can see, this is another place that it's a dock. I'm waiting for them to open up the bay. I'm early for my appointment. So I've got another about half an hour before my appointment time. As soon as they open up that door, I'll back in. This place is actually kind of unique. Once I back in, I'm going to detach from the trailer and pull out and leave my tractor outside. But the thing that makes this place unique, first of all, not a lot of setup area ahead and to the left to back in. So once you back in, you have to do some blindside backing, and if you've done any research at all, you might know blindside backing is difficult. And that's partly because there's not a lot of room over here and to the left, and then they also built This building is an add-on building to the original facility. Those that back into the doors, as we look at the front of the truck to the left, those are easier backs. You just end up having more space in front. So that's day 2, kind of a different spot. And like I said, it's different for a couple of reasons, because they don't give us a lot of room. Interesting just that, you know, the first 2 places that I show you end up being the same company, but they also end up being basically docks, which are very similar to places that reefers or dry vans go. In fact, some dry vans do go next to us. I've had them pull in while I'm unloading at this place. So we'll pause it again. We'll come back wherever I deliver tomorrow. Well, my apologies, technical difficulties when I recorded this video, so taping it after the fact. This is where I backed into on day 4, I think it is, showing you the train tracks from our vantage point, the left of our back-end spot. This is a place that they call the hole, backing into the hole. So there's train tracks to the left, and looking up to where you have to do your setup, you can see a couple of concrete pillars over there. If you look to the right, and I'm going to pan the camera to the right in a moment, you can see another set of train tracks. Occasionally there will be some tanker train cars up there, so that even further limits your pull-up space. This is one of the more difficult places that we do back into. I'm going to walk around to the other side of the truck, and you're going to see that there's some more pillars and a fire hydrant over on this side. So this is the least standard, one of the more difficult places that we back into. This is a refinery. This is a place that makes oil. You can see the scale house up. That's the gate. So we have to go through. We go all the way to the other side of the plant, do a little turnaround, come back, and back into this spot. So this is one of the less conventional places that we back. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I apologize if this audio is not as high quality as some of the other ones. We'll show you where I am when we come back. So here we are on day 4, backing it at a salad dressing company, delivering some soybean oil to these folks. This is the easiest back of any. You pull in over where that truck is off the street, pull forward into this huge expanse of a parking lot, and do a straight back into the receiving area, which is specifically designed for oil. Slopes downward so that the oil can drain to the back of the truck. You can see the only thing that would ever make this difficult is there's 4 bays. You can see there's VIN, that's vinegar, egg. There are trucks that deliver liquid eggs, and then there's another spot on the other side that's for another vinegar truck. So if there's 3 trucks and you're the only one backing in, it can be a little bit tight because they're fairly close together. But this is about as easy as it gets. We'll come back tomorrow on day number 5. Day 5, 4? I don't know, I've lost track. Anyway, pretty simple back once again, fairly decent amount of space. Straight back, and only thing you have to contend with is the dumpster and the truck up ahead. And you back straight into a dedicated oil receiving area. So pretty simple place to back into here. And this is actually going to be the final day, because we're going back to the place we were yesterday, which was the straight back into an oil receiving area tomorrow, which would have been the final place I would show you. So we're going back to the salad dressing place for tomorrow. All right, guys, so wrapping up my series on backing. I mentioned as I just took the video here at this facility, going back to the same place that I did the straight back into the salad dressing company tomorrow, so no point in redoing a video showing you that again. So tape my final little talk on backing, If you're coming to Prime to get your CDL, of course, you're going to take the entire test. That involves the pre-trip, that involves backing, that involves over-the-road driving or on-the-road driving. For me, personally, I mentioned I had driven a large vehicle before, a bus. So the on-the-road driving was one of the things that I had the easiest time with. A lot of the stuff from the bus pre-trip kind of carries over. There's a lot of similar things. You do have to learn, obviously, some more things. So I did pretty well with that. Backing was an entirely new concept for me. I personally had only backed a pickup truck with a trailer on it one time in my entire life before coming out and driving a semi. And so it was an entirely new skill set. I had to learn how to do it, and it was by far the most difficult thing that I had to learn. It's like, I don't know if anyone has ever watched, there's a YouTube channel, Smarter Every Day. It's a guy who has a young child and has decided he wants to teach his young child something new every day. In one of the videos, he goes and talks about riding a bicycle, and how the saying is always, once you learn to ride a bike, you'll never forget how to ride a bike. In the video, they create this bicycle that operates the exact opposite, so that when you turn the handlebars to the left, the bike turns to the right. And your brain can't figure that out. Backing a trailer, if you've never done it before, I'm not going to say it's exactly like that, but it's similar, because you do turn opposite. And if you've driven a car, I'm 40 years old, so I've been driving a car for 24 years before I came out to start doing this. And it can be very disorienting to back a trailer and have things not go the way you expect if you were backing a straight vehicle. It takes time. I just kind of had to play with it and see how the trailer and the truck reacted. And if you're not used to it, it can take some time. There's no doubt about it. I did figure it out. I passed the pre-trip with 0 points. I passed the backing test with only 2 points. You can get, I think, up to 12 points on the backing test. And those are points against you. Personally, I took 2 extra pull-ups is where I got my extra points. And I wish they would give you as many pull-ups as you want. I wish they would give you as many get-out and looks. That's another thing. They give you a standard number of get-out and looks, and then they give you points off if you hit a cone or if you hit a line. I wish they would almost automatically fail you if you hit a line or hit a cone, and give you as many pull-ups and get-out and looks as possible, because in the real world, nobody cares if you get out and look 27 times and you pull up 15 times. As long as you don't hit anything, that's all that really matters. But nobody asks me or asks the drivers their opinions on the CDL test. But anyway, I just wanted to show you what backing is like in Tanker. We didn't go to some of the more unusual places. Probably the one 2 days ago where we backed into the refinery, the one with the bad audio. And again, I apologize for the bad audio on that one. Thanks for sticking with me through the poor audio. Thanks for sticking with me through this backing video. I know it's a little bit lengthy, and we'll see you again next week.